beautiful as the day I lost you.
So is it just me, or is Title Update 5 kind of a home run, it's over, well done,
game
kind of finale masterclass of an update? And yeah, we're getting another bonus update that could be anything at all. It totally could be a version of any monster, and I'm speaking in this way completely randomly. But look, this is kind of the big one, isn't it? This is the finale, and it needed to be good, and it's not just good, it's great. I realize that still sounded weirdly anticlimactic. It's fantastic, isn't it? And admittedly, that's probably because, and by probably I mean it is because, Amatsu is that good of a fight. They have absolutely done that good of a job with this reimagined classic legendary fan favorite Elder Dragon experience. But that said, the rest of everything is definitely holding its own too, and I kinda just wanted to talk about it because, basically, I'm chuffed. Now, don't get me wrong, I think on the whole, Iceborne Title Update 5 with Fatalis was a more well-rounded and just better finale experience, but I certainly think that in a vacuum, the Amatsu fight itself is just as good as the Fatalis fight itself on a purely spectacle moveset design level. But of course, Fatalis came with the fact that, you know, he's Fatalis, the story, and of course the difficulty, because the difficulty is the one little place that Amatsu kind of falls down, but also relatively, if you are going to hunt Amatsu at Master Rank 10, when you're kind of supposed to, it would be a fairly difficult encounter, so I don't really want to hold that against it too much, and in fact, I'm not going to hold it against it at all. Whether you agree that the Infernal Springs is the right place for it or not, and personally, I really don't mind it. I think Amatsu has made it feel like Amatsu's map, and I think the unique changes to it, the siege weaponries, the pillars going, the change to endemic life slightly, the way they have modified it really kind of makes it feel like it was always supposed to be Amatsu's map. Everything else that's been there is kind of just borrowing it. And of course, if you do buy into it being the ruins of Kagero and Yumogi's old kingdom, God, the Kagero line still chills.
I already died once. I have nothing left to lose.
It's a terrible day for rain.
Again, not as good old fighting history, right, Aiden?
Hello!
But definitely a emotional gut punch to fuel your Amatsu fighting. But it's two particular moments in Amatsu's encounters, plural, that really kind of make me go, yeah, Capcom have still got it. They know, they care. I mean, on a general sense, you do, of course, have some classic sounds coming back, the mix of the themes, the way Amatsu is harkening back to not just the Frontier version from the Frontier members of the team, but to the original portable third version, even, well, I'm not actually going to spoil it. Cook a steak on the Amatsu quest and give it a little bit of a listen. It's really quite good. But let's focus on the moments that I have in mind that I think really exemplarize this whole experience. The first is Atushi heading off into the distance and coming back with an Apex and Ogre to take on Amatsu. On the surface, this is like rule of cool, okay, alright then, badass, yeah, fun, random. But the thing is, Zinogre and Amatsu have a rivalry that has gone back to, well, the first introduction of Amatsu. See, Amatsu arrived out of nowhere at the Sacred Pinnacle near the Misty Peaks, near Yukumo Village, and caused, let's put it as, a right fuss. And that right fuss displaced the local Zinogre population, which led to the discovery of Zinogre. They forced them off their mountain home and then into contact with humans, and that went exactly as well as you might expect. and thus we had to stop and hunt this now rampaging population of Zynogas. It was a big deal and a really fun little ecology beat. And of course, Apex Zynoga is a essentially Thunderlord stand-in, which gives it even more gravitas. Then being able to Wyvern ride an Apex monster the first time with the help of Master Atushi, who is of course your de facto mentor. Together you help take down this threat to the original Rise village. Yeah, it really is quite, okay. And I really do love it for that. But it goes even beyond once again when we realize that when you face Amatsu a second time, obviously Atushi's not there, and this time it's Valstrax who comes in. And this, again, initially might be like, okay, that's just, again, rule of cool. They couldn't have it be Apex Zynoga cutscene every time, of course. That's a one-off. Let's just throw Valstrax at it. Valstrax dive bomb. That's just what happens. That makes sense. Okay. And so on and so forth. But no, this does actually have a reason and rhyme for existing. It's a reference. There is an attraction at Universal Studios in Japan that is a Monster Hunter-based attraction. It's a kind of screen interactive setup, and I really want to go and do it, oh my god. But what happens is you're battling Valstrax, and towards the end he notices an Amatsu in the clouds nearby causing trouble, and decides that he needs to go fight it instead of you, and thus you are left to imagine how that brawl might play out. And is that not absolutely awesome that that has kind of influenced this moment in the now Amatsu experience? Because I think that is bloody brilliant and just really speaks to, again, a lot of care gone into this. So to move past Amatsu, who really, I could talk for 30 minutes on just how much fun and how well done Amatsu is. Yes, there's a lot of attacks everywhere, but they're very clearly defined. They look gorgeous, he looks gorgeous. Getting lightning is long awaited, he needed it, and the way he mixes it all together, the water, the wind, the lightning, he is the storm now, and he is up there definitely after the showing as one of the most powerful monsters in all of Monster Hunter, bumping against that Black Dragon category only just below them, but firmly in the uppiest of echelons when it comes to, monster power. So yeah, all in all, I couldn't be more pleased with how what is the true final boss of Sunbreak has turned out. At least, we'll see what happens with Mr. Bonus too, he might be even truer. Then we have Risen Shagaru Magala, who is just absolutely also awesome. I think definitely the best Risen monster. I like that we fight him in the Forlorn. I think he works best with that Risen flavor on top of the Frenzy, and he is a worthy mantle of Ultimate Risen challenge, even above Valstrax. He really does scratch that itch. Then, of course, the title update brings another 80 ranks of investigation, resulting at rank 300, resulting in a whole new type of investigation against a whole new type of monster with higher damage, wider attacks, and generally a final layer of challenge. I will admit that, yes, grinding another 80 levels does suck. I will admit that Master Rank 180 for Risen Shagaru Magala does suck, and if you've not been consistently playing, that feels like an almost monumental task that might not even be worth the effort to you after facing Amatsu. But that said, it does provide a huge amount of endgame content to explore, to face, and to most importantly, use the newfound power we have been gifted with this title update on. With essentially this huge gift of strength players have received thanks to the ludicrously potent Qurious Melding, everything we can now Qurious craft onto armor, and the max level of augments for our weaponry too, hunters have never been more powerful in Sunbreak, and it's not even close. The gain of power between Title Update 4 and 5 is greater than the gain of power between base Sunbreak and all the way to Title Update 4. It's just that silly, and I can't wait to bring you more and more builds. But the point is, we need room to gallop with all this new horsepower, and we've certainly been given that, even if you do think it's a little bit too much. Personally, I don't mind, because I have an unhealthy addiction to this game. And it just goes on and on with all the usual fun extras, the event quest, the extra DLC, and yada yada. But the point is, I think it was entirely perhaps possible and even a little bit of a worry that Title Update 5 might not stick the landing as giving us the true final endgame state of Sunbreak with the challenges and climactic boss to go along with that, but it kinda just has, and then some. And I think it has given us, with Amatsu, a fight, a hunt that will be cemented into the annals of Monster Hunter history, the kind of fight that in a couple years' time, I will probably sit down and make a video and go, hey, let's talk about Sunbreak Amatsu. Do you remember that? Wow, what an encounter! Like I did recently with Iceborne Raging Rakinios, which I also think stands up there as one of the best design encounters ever in Monster Hunter. And that's rare. It is not often that you get to be there when a new legend is born. There is only a handful of hunts that I think are on this tier. Fatalis, the first Safi'jiiva, Raging Brachydios, and Amatsu, the first Atal'Kar, maybe the first time you see Delamadur, but probably not the hunt, you know, that kind of level where it's just, wow, I will never forget that. And I think it is worth celebrating, and that's what I wanted to do in this little talk here. Basically, my review of Title Update 5 is a good old 9.9 out of 10, depending on how you like your grind or not. And I would love to know your thoughts on it too, and of course, I will be back to explore in depth what we think is going to happen with this bonus update, what's going on with this totally not Malzeno variant, and all of that good stuff as we move forward. But I really wanted to just kind of take a beat and just celebrate this really, really badass Title Update 5 to really sing Sunbreak off into the sunset. What an awesome expansion. For now, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Let me know how you are getting on with Amatsu and everything he has brought with him. And until we meet again, consider supporting the future of this channel on Patreon down below. A goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.